This is the project we're going to do today. We made a necklace, bracelet, and earrings using some of the seed beads that I got from Tuesday morning. I used a little more than one of the packages of these little metallic colored seed beads and just a little bit of the black seed beads, which is what I used for the core of this spiral wrapping. And so let's begin. And before we start the real project, I'm going to show it where I have more of a contrast between the core beads and the spiral beads. And so in this example, I'm going to use white as the core beads and black as the spiral beads. And so let's zoom up a little closer here. And so we'll start with 4 core beads and then 4 of the spiral beads. So we start out with 8 beads on our needle, and we'll bring it down till we have about a foot at the bottom here. And we'll take our needle and we will go back from the bottom to the top through our 4 core beads. And then we'll tighten it up. Like this. So we have a circle with our core beads and our spiral beads. Next, we'll take 1 core bead and 4 spiral beads. So we have 5 beads on our needle. We'll bring this down to our circle. And we want to go through the last 4 of our core beads. So this is the bottom right here. This is the top. And so we're going to go the last 4 of our core beads. And so that's through the last 4 white beads. And then we'll tighten it up. And our spiral now is starting around our core. Next, we'll pick up another core bead and 4 spiral beads. So we have 5 beads on our needle. We'll come down and then we'll put the needle through the bottom to the top through the last 4 of our core beads. So those are the white beads, like this. Then we bring it and we tighten it and we make sure that our spiral arms are situated next to each other. So now we've got 3 spiral arms going around our core. So we'll pick up 1 core bead and 4 of our spiral beads. Turn it so that you can see your new beads and then your core beads coming down. And we'll put the needle through the last 4 core beads, like so. And then we'll pull it tight. And you want to make sure that your spiral beads are together. And then we'll do it one more time. We're going to take 1 core bead and 4 of the spiral beads. Bring it down. Situate it so that you can see your core beads. And then we're going to go through the last 4 of our core beads. We'll pull it tight. And here you can see our spiral starting around the core. And then one last time. Core bead and 4 of the spiral beads. Turn it so that your core beads are facing you. And we'll go through the last 4 core beads like this and pull it tight. And so this is the basic stitch, and as you continue this will get longer and longer, and so now we can start with our regular project with our regular colored beads. And so what I'm going to do to string it is I'm going to use some Fireline crystal. This is 6 pound, and I'm using a wide-eyed needle, which is the kind that the whole needle separates out like this so that it's easy to thread this. And I've taken some of the Fireline, and I've taken about arm's width of it. That's what's comfortable for me to use. Okay, and to start, I've put some of the black out here and some of the colored ones here. And the black is going to be my core beads, and the colored ones are going to be the spiral beads. So to start, I'm going to take 4 of my black core beads and then 4 of the colored beads. So I've got 8 beads on my needle. And then I'm going to thread it down to the end until I've got maybe 1.5 feet left at the bottom. So about this much, about 1.5 feet on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do, this is the bottom, this is the top. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go back up through the 4 core beads, just like this. And then I'm going to pull it through and tighten it up. And so now this is going to make a circle. And so this is the base, and this is the top up here. And you just hold it tight. And let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Okay, so here are my 4 blacks, and here are the 4 colored. Now for the next step, and for the rest of it, we're going to take 1 of our core beads, which is the black, and then 4 of our colored beads. So that now we have 5 beads on our needle. And then we thread it down to our circle here so that we've got our 4 colored beads and our 1 black core bead. So we're going to take our needle, we count down the 4 color beads, now we're going to count down 4 of the core beads. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we're going to, from the bottom up, come through those 4 black core beads, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten the thread. And so now the two colored beads should be next to each other. So you're starting the spiral here, and then you've got your black core underneath. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take one of the black core beads and then 4 of the colored beads. And you just repeat the same process until you get the length that you're going for. And in this case, we're making the matching bracelet for the necklace that I've already done. Okay, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're running out of thread. And so when you have about a foot of thread left, you're going to need to add more thread. And so you want to make a note of the core bead where the current thread is coming out, which is right here. It's going to be, in this case, the black bead that's on the top, and the thread is coming out of that. And that's where the new thread is also going to have to come out. But we're going to have to lock the old thread into place. So what you do is the adjoining spiral arm, the 4 colored beads, you send the needle through the 4 colored beads, just like this, that is right next to that core bead that the thread is coming out. And then up through the next 4 colored beads. And then just weave your thread in and out to lock everything into place. You want to make sure you do enough weaving that everything is going to be locked firmly into place. And I'll take my scissors and just cut that off. So now here we've got our tail end, and this is our working end. And this right here, this black bead right at the very top, is our last core bead. And so we're going to want to start some new thread. So I'm going to take my fire line. Okay, and now I'll just pick a spiral that's down a bit, and I'll go up through the 4 beads of that spiral. Okay, and now I'm going to weave in and out, making sure I do enough weaving that I'm going to lock the new thread into place. And I'll eventually end up back at the last core bead, and the thread will come out of the last core bead the same way the old thread was. And once I've got everything weaved in, then I can start picking up my 1 core bead and my 4 spiral beads, go through my last 4 core beads, and just continue on until I got the length that I want. Okay, I'm getting close to the final length I want, and I want to be careful that I don't make it too long, and so I have to take into account the width of my clasp. So I'm putting my needle on the tail end right now, and I'm going to finish off the tail end, and I want to use a magnetic clasp. And so I've got some jump rings here that are not subjected to the magnetic clasp. So ideally you want to find jump rings that will not be attracted by the magnet and the magnetic clasp. Now I want to finish off this end, so I'm going to start by picking up a couple of the bigger beads. These beads are not all the same size. In the necklace here, I finished it off with 4 beads, but I don't want to add that much length to the bracelet, so I'm only going to put 2 beads on it. And so I've got the 2 beads on the end. Then I have a wire protector here. And so I'm going to send the needle up one end of the wire protector. Let me zoom in. So I'm sending it up the one side, And I gotta make sure we're in focus here. So I'm sending it up the one side and then looping around the top and sending it down the other side so that the thread goes over the top of the wire protector. And then I'm going to pull this tight. I'm going to go through the 2 beads and then the first 4 core beads like that. And then I'm going to pull this tight so that that's tight like that. Then I'm going to go up through these first spiral beads. So the first 4 spiral beads here, I'll come up through these, down through the next 4 spiral beads, pull it tight. Then I'm going to find the nearest core bead and I'm going to go up through the core beads and through one side of my wire protector. And we'll pull this tight. We'll come through the other side of the wire protector, down through those 2 beads and down through the core beads, like so. Pull this tight, making sure the wire is centered in the wire protector. I'll go up through the nearest spiral. Like so. And down through the next. Like so. Find that nearest core bead and just go up all the way and through the one end of the wire protector. Pull it tight down the other end of the wire protector, through the beads, through the core beads, and as I tighten this, make sure that the wire is centered, or the thread is centered on the top of that wire protector. And I'll come up through the nearest spiral arm here, these 4 beads, and down through the next. And I don't really have enough thread to go up and around the wire protector one more time. So I'm going to come up through these spiral beads again. Sure my thread isn't stuck on anything here, like so, and then I'll come, I have to loosen the thread a bit because I'm running out here. And we'll maybe come down through the nearest core beads. And thread it on down and cut it off, Now I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and squeeze those ends of the wire protector closed. And now I will attach the clasp. Okay, the length of this now is about the right length when I take into account the clasp here. And so I'm going to, first of all, kind of lock the thread into place by sending it first through the adjacent spiral arm, the four colors of the spiral arm, like so. To kind of lock this into place. And up through the next spiral arm. Like so. And then I want to go through this last core bead here so that, and then I'm going to pick a couple of the larger seed beads here so that we finish it off the same way we did the other side. And we'll weave in and out through the wire protector just like we did on the other side and finish off the bracelet. Okay, and that finishes off the bracelet. And next I will show you how to make these little dangles for either earrings or charms or whatever you want to do with it. Okay, for the earrings I did 4 little beads, but I want to make a little dangle for my bracelet, so I'm only going to use 3. If you're going to make earrings, you want to make sure you're choosing the beads that are relatively the same size so that when you make your dangles, the dangles are going to be the same length. And so in this case, I've chosen these 3 beads right here. It doesn't matter really how long it is because I'm only going to make 1. I'm not making 2 like I did here for the earrings. I'm going to use my flathead to begin with, and I'm going to put it right at the very tip. And I'm going to fold this back to a 90-degree angle, just like that. Now I'm going to take my round head and I'm just going to place it on here like this, up to the mark. And then I'm going to wrap this around the top just like this. Then I'm going to reposition this so that now the wire is in the middle, and I will continue the turn around like this. Now I'll take my flathead needle nose pliers, and I'm going to just kind of twist it around a couple of times to do a quick little wire wrap like that. Then I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm just going to snip it off as close as I can. And then I'll use my flat nose pliers to kind of bend this over and make it flat where I cut it. just like that. And now I have my dangle. Okay, to make my dangle, I've got some 4mm jump rings here. And once again, these are the kind that are not going to react with my magnetic clasp. But I want to just make a little chain. And so I'll just connect these jump rings together to make a little chain for my dangle. And now I will attach the dangle to the bracelet. So I've got my dangle on the bracelet. Okay, and then here is the finished result. We've got a pair of earrings, we've got a necklace, and we've got the bracelet. And it took about 1.5 or so containers of the colored beads and very little of the black core beads. We used very little of the black beads to complete this project. This necklace is about 16 or 17 inches long. And you can also expand it with the little dangle here that you've got. This dangle keychain will expand it a little bit. But this is a shorter necklace. Of course, if you wanted a longer necklace, you would need more of the seed beads. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!